Previously on DPS.
So next week's tasks are as follows. You will all work as individuals. You will be asked to create a 90 seconds news package that should be able to make it into any of our news bulletins either at 18:45 or 20 hours.
What a journey. First, it was hundreds. Then the top cream of the crop were narrowed down to 20. Further refinement has led us to where we are now. Matakala, Mike, Rachel, Taona, Akim, and Mark. These names make up the top 6 competitors who are left in the competition so far. For weeks, they've tried to convince CVO that they deserve to be on his team. And to their credit, they deserve to be where they are today. We may have come a long way to top 6, but we've got to keep going until we have that last diamond standing. And our next task will help us get a step closer. In Package Your Story, contestants are tasked to each pitch 2 news story ideas to Diamond Media's news department. The news editor will then pick the best idea to go into production. These reporters must then package these ideas into 1-minute 30-second pieces suitable for the Diamond Newsdesk, Diamond TV's 8 p.m. national news bulletin. A successful news package will have the basics of news reporting. The contestants will have to pick a topic that's relevant enough and engaging to the viewer to keep them glued to the screen. Contestants, good luck.
Following the declaration of drought as a national disaster by President Hakainde Hichilema, the government had announced a supplementary budget through the Minister of Finance, Dr. Stumbeko Msokotwane, to support.
Coming up, Costa interrogates the contestants' thought process and final products.
Piki na piki doli nakasanga na piki. Oh, hi. I can explain. Well, you see, sometimes it's really hard to pick because the talent pool is so good, it's hard to determine which of these contestants to eliminate. So I devised a genius plan. We leave it up to chance. The little math, random unbiased selection. Because numbers don't lie, right?
Unfortunately, my suggestion was immediately rejected. Costa would rather do this the old-fashioned way. careful evaluation of each contestant and the use of his over 20 years experience and intuition in the industry to somehow spot potential brewing within these rough barrels. Well, alright boss, clearly your way works best. I mean, we have made it through 5 seasons. First up is Mark. He will have to present his work and answer the following questions that Costa may have. Good luck.
Mark.
Yes, sir.
You've made it into the top 6. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome to this week's preview session. Last week's task was for you to produce a 90 seconds news piece and package. My instructions were very clear that I'll be looking for you as you formulate your story idea to align with the 5 W's and H, a proper storyboard. I'll be looking at your storytelling and sequencing, and obviously the thematic areas around your topic. The most important issue for me is when you choose a story, why should people care? So tell me about your news piece today, why this idea, and the process undertaken to create this 90 seconds package.
Okay, so the process started with a meeting with the news team, a training of some sort, and they helped us also pick out the stories which we were going to tell. They were helping us in knowing whether there's a story in our idea or there's no story. So initially I had a different story, but then I was helped to understand that it's good to go with a story that is current and you can fully explain it clearly. So I chose the election, which is going on this year in Botswana, and I focused on the youth because in 2019 there was a huge turnout in terms of the youth that registered to vote, but we have a different story this time around, and also a low turnout in people that registered, and the assumption is that the youth are the people that didn't show up to register as they did in 2019.
So what is the what in your story?
The what is the youth not registering to vote.
That's the theme of the story?
Yes, sir.
Let's watch.
There is no doubt that the political winds of change in Botswana in the 2019 general elections were ushered in by the young people and women who are often accused of being reluctant to vote. They turned up in high numbers and generally voted for the incumbent president. However, in the next election, to be held in October this year, some of the youths have shunned the registration process as to not vote in the upcoming elections. The shunning is as a result of them losing interest in politics after observing no change. We had the opportunity to speak to some of them in Gaborone, the capital city of Botswana.
I'm yet to choose a political party that I can vote for. I know there are many parties that exist as we have a multi-party democracy, but I'm yet to develop interest in voting. From the Provisional Voters Register, there is a reduction of voters. According to the 2019 statistics, 925,478 people registered as voters as compared to the 764,000 that have registered so far before the last supplementary period numbers. Mark Mulenga Simukanga, Diamond News.
I've seen you do this kind of work before where you just stand on the road and begin to tell the story. I was expecting to see probably here a graphical presentation, even in front of a video wall, giving us a map of Botswana, giving us a population of Botswana, giving us some tables, some pie charts and things like that. You had enough time. So out of 10, I'm giving you 3 mark. Out of this news piece. You decided to choose on a piece that was more regional, but you could have done a bit more work for it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Costa's final stance is set. It's a 3 out of 10 for Mark. Following closely is Matakala. Perhaps he'll do better?
All right, I think I'll start with the training that we had with the news editor. We're required to come up with 2 ideas, and having presented my first idea, it was shot down, and so I was left with a second idea, and it forms my story today. It's the Copper Queens set for the second appearance at the Paris 2024 Olympics, so it's a sports story.
I have a question for you before I even watch your piece. What is your understanding of news? How would you describe news? What is news?
Something new.
Something new. Yeah. Very good. The first basic journalism 101 class you get is when people tell you that when a dog bites a man, that's not news.
Okay.
But when a man bites a dog, that's news. Why do you think that is so?
Because you won't find a man biting a dog on a normal day.
Exactly.
Right.
So if you say news has to be something new, I've read through your script. What is new in this story? Because before you did this story, didn't the public know that the Shipolo Polo have qualified to the Olympics?
They did.
Yeah, so what's new?
What's new here is that I did talk to the FAS communications manager, who confirmed that the team is now in camp, and they will have another camp, an international camp, and this is something that is new.
It's not new, because what's your story? Is this your storyboard?
Yes.
Is this your storyboard or your intro?
Oh, this is the storyboard. Yes, I think.
Is this your storyboard or your intro?
If I understand the word correctly, yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes.
And I'll tell you outrightly that this is not a way to do a storyboard.
Okay.
I don't know whether you learned that with your interaction with the news editors, but I was looking for a proper storyboard. Then, if you tell me FAS Communications Manager Sidney Mungala has expressed confidence in the team's preparation and is hopeful for a better performance at this year's tournament, what's new there? According to that statement, what's new there? Him expressing hope that they'll perform better, what's new?
Well, that's the part where I said he said the team is in camp.
Do you see a man biting a dog in this story?
No.
Thank you. Let's watch.
Having overturned the 2-1 home defeat to a 2-0 away victory against Morocco to qualify for the Olympic Games, Zambia's women's national team, the Copper Queens, are set to make their second consecutive appearance at the Olympics. With just about a month to go before their opening match against the United States, Football Association of Zambia Communications Manager Sidney Mungala had this to say.
The team has been in camp for a week now, and they will be in camp until the tournament kicks off in France.
Football enthusiasts are excited about the team's prospects, with many expecting them to make a deeper run in the tournament this time around.
So, as at now, with the likes of our first choice goalkeeper, Eze Onali, she's back, so we expect more.
The Copper Queens' journey to the Paris 2024 Olympics is a testament of their resilience and determination. As the team prepares to take on the world's best, the nation will be watching with bated breath to see their heroines shine on the global stage once more.
It ends there. That's why I asked, was there no sign out of your name?
Oh. Well, I had to remove it because of
the time.
Yes.
So you could have removed a lot of other useless things there.
Right.
First of all, yes, because you assume that the public knows who you are.
No.
Because when you're reporting, you must always say the platform and who you are reporting. It's a standard. But secondly, Matakala, your story sequencing is very poor, because that's why I asked you whether this is an intro or a storyboard. A storyboard is supposed to show who your sources are, your name, their names, and why. You've brought in soccer enthusiasts, but inside there you also bring in an analyst, and you're assuming everybody is going to see the quick text and so on. But the biggest challenge for me is that there's nothing new in this story. It's a very basic story. There's nothing that you've told me here. It's just a flurry. Like I keep on saying, Matakala, it's one thing that you're able to be confident and speak very well. But your content, you can't just be a guy who waffles or blows hot air. You're confident, you're good, you hold very good presence, but your content is weak. So I'm giving you 2 out of 10.
20%. Ouch. It's a massacre today. At this rate, we might as well not pick any diamond. Suffice to say, Matakala may easily find himself on the chopping block. It's now Rachel's turn.
Okay, so how I came up with my story was when we were given a task, I needed to look at what's happening right now, what's current, and also what's in close proximity to the people. What if people were to listen to my story, would they care?
What is this? Is this a storyboard or is this an intro?
This is a news piece. This is something that the newscaster is going to read. I think it's a storyboard. It has the what, it does the house.
Is this a storyboard or is this a copy for the caster, or is this what you use to narrate your work?
No, this is what the caster is going to read.
I'm interested more in your storyboard. Let's watch.
Some stakeholders in the education sector have applauded government for allocating 392.2 million kwacha for the upscaling of the school feeding program from early childhood to secondary schools, which is over and above the approved 111.7 million kwacha in the 2024 budget. This follows Minister of Finance Dr. Stumbeko Msokotwane's recommendation of a 41.9 billion kwacha supplementary budget to Parliament on Friday.
We are saying the inclusion of the feeding program to the secondary sector is a welcome move, in the sense that it's going to allow the learners concentrate on the learning process as opposed to them concentrating on what is it that they are going to feed on when they knock off.
And there will also be prudence in the way that these funds are going to be used. Otherwise, kudos to the Minister of Finance and also government.
According to UNESCO, good health and nutrition are foundations for learning and a crucial investment for more sustainable, inclusive and peaceful futures. They improve education outcomes and empower learners to thrive and promote inclusion and equity in education and health. For Diamond TV News, I am Rachel Mumba.
So I feel that you did a very, very easy and lazy job on this task. For that, Rachel, I'm giving you 2 out of 10 on this story.
Looks simple, but very dangerous. The reason it's very dangerous is because jokes. Now, TV is not the easiest of things to get into, but with a little practice and guidance, you get there eventually.
That's half of our contestants so far. To kick off the second half, Mike.
What is open access?
Open access? In its general...
Your story is about government has approved open access to electricity transmission. What is open access?
To electricity transmission. Just open access.
What is open access to electricity?
Open access is maybe freedom to, or allowance of people to get into this sector and be...
I'm a novice. I mean, I'm illiterate. I mean, I'm in the compound. Explain this to me. I mean, I'm sitting in Shangombo. What is open access?
So this is basically because we know that electricity in Zambia has been provided and supplied and distributed by ZESCO all along. And so now government sees to it in this particular regard that even private investors may have the freedom to get into the sector and get to...
They were not free before?
Maybe to some extent, I'm not really sure.
You're the journalist. You're supposed to investigate.
Sure.
Why is it then so? If you're not sure, why is it news that there's open access? They were not free. If they were not free, why? The law couldn't allow them. What has been the major challenge, or what has been the major encumbrance that has led to this open access?
The load shedding itself, the electricity deficit that we are facing. As
what has been the major encumbrance of foreign players not investing in the energy sector?
Maybe there wasn't an enactment such as this one which allows them now, back in the day.
Are you sure?
If this gives them freedom now to do that.
Are you sure? What was the major complaint of people investing into the electricity sector? You're not aware, so you didn't do your job. Let's watch it.
What began as a pronouncement in 2023 has finally gained stature. In his State of National Address dated 8th of September 2023, President Hakainde Hichilema did highlight the need for the promotion of competition and allowance for non-discriminatory access to electricity transmission and distribution infrastructure by the private sector. It is evident that the adverse impact of the energy crisis Zambia is faced with, owing to poor climatic conditions which has caused unrest among small and medium enterprises, has pushed the government to no option rather than implementing the open access policy on electricity and energy, which is aimed at spurring private investment in the energy sector. Now, as good news as that may sound being, Zambians still ask how long will it be before they completely stop to rely on the national supply grid, which has proven to have imposed a backlash on productivity for small business owners.
Firstly, like when it comes to the clientele base, our clientele base has gone down because clients would come and then we don't have power.
It's a welcome suggestion, but again, we don't know how the time will take, how long it will take.
Now, as the nation gets introduced to the free access for energy supply and distribution by the private sector, the question still lies on how long should the Zambian people endure. For Diamond TV, my name is Mike Sakala.
After that intense interaction before this presentation, I can't wait to know what Mike's score is. Obviously, before that, we need to get feedback and pointers from Costa. While that happens, did you know that you have open access to receiving a power bank from Diamond TV? Yeah! All you have to do is subscribe to our YouTube channel where we have a variety of content for you to consume. Even the Diamond TV Presenter Search seasons and episodes. Once subscribed, get a screenshot and send it to 0958 112 999. Then you can catch the draw every Friday at 18:30 hours to see if you are that lucky receiver. Now, let's get back to Mike's score.
You chose to go for a very complicated topic, which unfortunately you have not understood. It's a very technical topic, open access. And to break down open access in 90 seconds is a suicide mission. It was a very technical topic that you chose. I don't know, it is relevant, it is topical, but you needed to have done a better research job on this topic. For that, I'm giving you 1 out of 10, Mike.
For some reason, I had a feeling how this would pan out. Let's give him a break and proceed to Akim.
Okay, so my headline was on the social cash transfer increase following the high cost of living and drought. So looking at the high cost of living and drought in our country, Zambia, it has actually increased to the aid of the social cash transfer program, which is currently happening. So when we're looking at this social cash transfer program, it is a government of Zambia social protection program that is actually helping people, the vulnerable people that are failing to access different things, or rather those that are experiencing poverty. So looking at the declaration that was made by our president on the 21st, not on the 21st, but looking at the declaration that was made by the president of drought as a national disaster, the government had announced, or rather recommended, a supplementary budget of 41.9 million to also help mitigate...
Million or billion?
Billion. To also help mitigate these issues.
So that the 41.9 billion will go just towards social cash transfer?
No, but it was...
How much is going towards social cash transfer?
On the figures, they're not yet certain, like according to...
As a journalist, you're not certain about the figures? The minister released a budget. You're saying social cash transfer has increased following the high cost of living. It has increased from what to what?
Oh, this is the story, sir.
I'm looking at what's here.
Oh, I had
So it has increased from what to what?
The increasement of...
Social cash transfer increased following the high cost of living. So it has been increased from what to what in terms of disbursement?
The figure of increment in terms of
disbursement.
The figure of increment.
I'm sure there's a targeted number of people that are supposed to benefit. Is it 1 million? Is it 2 million? And if 1 million people were getting 400 and they're going to get 600, surely it should translate into an increment. If my story is that social cash transfer has been increased, surely as a viewer I would be interested to know from what to what. Let's watch.
Following the declaration of drought as a national disaster by President Hakainde Hichilema, the government had announced a supplementary budget through the Minister of Finance, Dr. Stumbeko Msokotwane.
Just pause there. I think people have been... Go back to that picture.
Of drought as a national disaster by President Hakainde Hichilema, the government had announced a supplementary budget through the...
Pause there. Bring it, Justin. Bring it. Yeah, let it play. It will come big on the screen. Thank you. That is what budget being presented?
2023.
Also, that is a supplementary budget?
No, sir.
And I saw that picture also being used with Rachel. You were using the same picture?
No, when I downloaded the picture, I was actually supposed to crop it, but the moment it was delivered to the editor, I think maybe it
But Diamond TV did cover the 2024 supplementary budget presentation. Parliament did go live. There's a website. That's laziness. How do you put it? We're talking about a 2024 supplementary. You're putting 2023 national budget presentation.
Okay, we have seen today's scores and quite frankly, none of them are impressive. Could this be it for the day?
Mr. Hakim, first of all, like I said, you also took on the supplementary budget, decided to go for social cash transfer, but your report lacks figures. It lacks the figures. You don't know the disbursement, how much was there in the initial budget, how much has been allocated in the 41.9 billion that is directed towards social cash transfer, how many of the people will benefit countrywide, how many are the aged, how many are the people living with disabilities. Those numbers are important because you can't talk about a numbers story and not talk about the actual numbers. The only thing is, as opposed to the others, you've come in with a bit of a storyboard that I can see. So for that, I'm giving you 2 out of 10.
Well, there's a 20% chance of staying in the competition, but let's wait for elimination. For now, let's see how Taona did.
So my story is about the water scarcity that is going on in Garden Chilulu area of Lusaka. The reason why I chose this was after I heard that they haven't had water for like 3 days. Sometimes they don't have water for even 3 days. I was intrigued to find out more about this. So I decided to go into the field and get to hear from what the people of Garden area have to say. The why for this is because, you see, water scarcity is what leads to diseases such as cholera, typhoid, and we were just recovering from a cholera outbreak. Cholera can lead to schools closing and things like that. So that's the reason why I considered it worth news, because we cannot have proper sanitation without water. And looking at Garden area, it's one of the dense populated areas in Lusaka.
I have so much to say, but let's watch.
Okay.
The issue of load shedding has now led to water scarcity in Zambia. Garden Chilulu in Lusaka province is one of the majorly affected areas. The residents explain how much they are affected by this.
Kani ya manzi muno mgadeni malaiti yakaenda ipeze kati manzi nayo yaenda.
The water scarcity has not only affected household residents, but also people owning business such as restaurant and car wash businesses. Matthews Chipeta, a businessman that runs a car wash in Garden, had this to say.
Munga nkani ya mamotoka challenge munga ya manzi ilipo maningi kulu maningi, so business apa yabwera pansi just because yakuti mamotoka yabwera ni ambiri yabwera ka manzi tilibe tizasukira cyane.
This is Margaret Tembo, a restaurant owner in the same area. She explains how her business is affected by the water scarcity.
Mu 250 moja madrip ya manzi ni 18 kwacha. So mfunu kugula madrip vingati 5. Tigulira tupokomboka hapa. Yokumwe abantu ngatukulibe na yosamba abantu. So tipempa kuli government itianganileko isitipempa government kutimaka makaikankhala kunkani ya manzi.
Residents as well as business owners in Garden Chilulu area of Lusaka are pleading to the government to take action and provide them with water tanks while they are looking for a sustainable solution to this problem. Reporting for Diamond News, Taona Muwo.
Why didn't you translate your interviews into English?
I did think of doing that, but after watching some of the news packages that I have seen on the Diamond TV page, I noticed that some are not translated. So looking at the time that we had also, I just unfortunately did not.
That's Taona's first line of feedback. Translation of the package to the official language is critical. And after further feedback, Costa is ready to give her final score.
Clean access to clean and safe water is part of SDGs. Is SDG number what? But since you haven't heard of them, it's okay. I would not rather. So again, very poorly executed piece. Basic, really is the simplest Boma Yanganepo type of approach. I'm giving you 1 out of 10 for this attempt.
After the break, the contestants are in for a rough elimination session. Judging by the way the presentations went, we can already tell that in this elimination, Costa won't be so demure, not so mindful, and definitely not so cutesy.
Contestants, welcome back again into the presentation room. I have had an opportunity of interacting with each one of you who made it into the top 6. The task this week was a 90 seconds news package. I've given each one of you feedback. I know that most of you are disappointed, especially with your gradings. But I'll explain and give feedback in general and also back to you as individuals. The art of storytelling in the news business is becoming more and more demanding in terms of how creatively you tell your news package. The audience or the viewer out there right now has got a choice of so much clutter, whether it's online, TV, radio, or even active print. There's blogs, there's whatever. In a world of misinformation and fake news. So the audience, the viewer, the reader is looking, one, for credible sources, credible news outlets who will be able to tell news in an accurate manner, in a factual manner, in a contextual manner, but also news that will have yardsticks or relevance like I spoke about last time. News has to be relevant to your audience. The big question that you should always ask yourself when you're telling a story, why should the public care? Why should we report this? Am I merely doing it for an aspect of informing them, educate them? There's very little that we can do to entertain in so far as news telling is concerned. But depending on the platform that you're doing the news piece for, if it is online, even if it is for TV, the way you format the sequencing and your storytelling is very important. So yes, you presented your ideas to a news editor. It must meet the aspect of relevance, proximity, the aspect of it being new or timely, like you said. But we also look at the aspect of news being objective versus subjective. Does it meet the aspects of balance? And in most of your stories, many of you spoke about an issue, a problem, and it's the common Zambian narrative of you just take a microphone, oh, Boma Yanganepo, Boma Yanganepo. But are you taking the authorities to account? The role of advocacy journalism in modern day times, the public is expecting that if they're going to call you the fourth estate, the watchdog of society, the voice of the voiceless, which means you need to speak on behalf of the people to keep those in public office to account. Now, even in these scripts, I didn't see good headlines. Very boring headlines like social cash transfer increased because of drought. Open access to electricity. That was a very loaded intro. That's why I gave you 1, because your language was not even broadcast language. There was no flair. Your intro must be able to connect into the package. That's why I spoke about tautology. When the anchor reads something, it must leave me with a hook of going into the package. There must be a connection. That's why the storyboard and the intro, they need to have some sort of symbiotic aspect. So when I talk about the inverted pyramid structure, the pyramid usually is like a triangle like this sitting down. But when you say inverted, it's like an upside down triangle, meaning you're starting with the most important points of your story, because your audience has got a short lifespan. For online now, they say within your first 7 seconds, if you don't capture the attention of your reader or the person who's viewing your page in the first 7 seconds, they are gone. Equally for broadcast. So your intro is very important. If you miss the language, the style, and the creativity, so you need to start with the most important, with the least, then go into your intro. It's not a feature that you're writing. So, Mark, you're the only one in this task that gave me a different type of a story. Though it had a lot of weaknesses in terms of the news angle not being strong, the storyboard being weak, but at least it went out into Botswana. You were not covering everything as localized. There was some uniqueness in that. And that's why I gave you 3 out of 10. You're the highest on this assignment. Everybody else got 2 and 1.
Shout out OG.
That makes you safe this week. Exchange chairs with Mike. Matakala, there was nothing new in your sports piece. And during our feedback, you agreed that there was no man bites a dog feeling in that. Right. Does everybody understand the man bites a dog concept? There was nothing new. Again, there was very simplistic approach. But I gave you 2 out of 10. Exchange seats with Mike or with Akim. I'll start with you, Akim, since the microphone is with you. If I asked you to save any one of those that are up for elimination, who would you save and why?
That's a difficult question, but...
That's why I've asked it.
I think I would save Rachel. The reason is, I think she's good when it comes to current affairs and she's always there when it comes to helping people with their work. Yeah, I think I would save Rachel.
Mike, if I asked you to save somebody among those up for elimination, who would you save?
That is not considering myself. Anybody else?
Who would you save?
I think I would also go with Rachel in the sense that, just like Akim has alluded to, she is mostly helpful in terms of she's a good team player. I should say so. She's very helpful in terms of getting to facilitate any need that she might have in case she's at disposal with it. She's a good team player.
Tawana, who among the 4 of you up for elimination today do you think is your strongest opponent and why?
I think my strongest opponent is Rachel. The reason I say so is because I feel like among all 4 of us, she is the more experienced person to start with. She is very, very, very familiar with everything that goes on in media, starting from how to present news, all about news. Even when we're doing this particular task, I don't think she had much challenges because she had ideas on how to go about things. That's what makes her the strongest opponent, because she's strong in that area.
I don't want to be biased, but this obviously is a societal observation. There's 4 men and 2 women here. Why should I keep the women on the competition and not the gentleman?
Okay, that's a question I didn't expect. Why you should keep the women instead of the gentlemen is because you see how we have 4 gentlemen right now, right? And 2 ladies. If one lady goes, that leaves us with 4 gentlemen and 1 lady.
Even if the ladies are weak?
I'm heading to that, sir. So, obviously, for us to be in the top 6 right now, it means that the ladies are not as weak. They could be weaker than some of the gentlemen here.
Do you feel you're weaker than the gentlemen?
No, I do not.
So why should I keep the ladies?
Because the ladies that we have here specifically have got great potential, and they deserve to stay because they've worked hard. Both me and Rachel, we've worked hard. We have had to deal with certain challenges, but we still pushed forward. And you keeping the ladies on this is going to just increase the opportunity for us to show more of ourselves.
Rachel, you seem to have won a lot of hearts amongst your fellow contestants. Does that come to you as a surprise?
Yes, sir. Because being with different people, we've had a few pushes and pulls here and there. It also just comes in as a consolation to know that I mean that much to some people. I didn't really expect that, honestly, but I'm just grateful for that.
But based on what Tawana has said, I think by now, Rachel, with all your experience and attempts with media, you should have been above the mark, especially even in this assignment.
Absolutely.
And for me, I think it's disappointing, your performance.
Yes, sir.
If you have to stay in the competition, you have to pull up.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, we have to make a decision. We have to bring this into the top 5. One of you has to go today. Matakala, who amongst those that are earmarked for elimination do you think is the weakest link, and why should I be sending them home?
Oof, that's a hard one. I'm sorry, Akim, but I think it's Akim in the sense that he has been telling all of us that he'll be going home since the last elimination. So it makes work very hard when you have to drag someone that is already seeing himself home.
Akim, is that true? You've already psychologically eliminated yourself?
It's not that I eliminated myself.
But have you been saying that you're going home soon?
I've not been saying that.
So,
I would say
Matakala is lying?
No, I would say I said that yesterday. Because
You've not been saying that? You would say that you said that yesterday?
I think it's normal for everyone on this panel to say that because we're top 6.
What made you think you're the next person to go home?
It happened during the shoot. I was trying to get in touch with the experts from the Ministry of Community Development on the story I was creating. So the feedback I was getting from them was bad, at a point where they called me wicked. Because, yes.
They called you wicked, why?
I was trying to talk to them so that I can have an interview with them, because my story was connecting to the work that they're doing, because the social cash transfer is
and they called you wicked?
Yes.
Damn, they are wicked.
So at a certain point, I felt bad, honestly. And then I thought I'll believe you, because this package required some experts to talk about what we were putting in the story. So during the shoot, I just blacked out. So Rachel and Matakala, I think, really helped out together with Mike when it came to my shoot, because they helped me putting things together.
You blacked out as in you fainted?
No.
Oh.
Like,
nothing
was on my mind.
Okay.
And I was just failing to do certain things at a point of me even forgetting the introduction.
So you agree that you're not strong enough? You're not built for this?
I would say I was not really mentally prepared for this.
So then I need to begin to doubt you. Because I have a team of journalists, unfortunately Akim, that whether they are told they are wicked or not, they have to deliver a bulletin every day for 365 days. The viewer would not know that a source told me I was wicked. I need to have the news on air at 8 p.m. every day.
Yes, that's true, but I'll just say I'll say yesterday during the shoot.
Just blacked out.
Yes, because I was trying to get in touch with the experts and the response I was getting was not really good. So I was like, what am I going to put in this package?
Mark, who is the weakest link?
I'm sorry, but I'd have to say Akeem. Not because of his skills. I feel like he's very skilled and he's a very good presenter. But as Matakala alluded, he has a lot of self-doubt, and the industry that we're in needs someone to have thick skin. If you don't have thick skin and you have self-doubt and you easily get emotional, it's gonna eat you up.
So you've got two people saying I should send you home. Why should I keep you in the show?
I think I'll work on the same thing that the people have said, and I think I'll be able to do my best and pull up my tokens if I was to be kept in this competition.
Let's take a moment to reflect. The person that is going home this week, based on a lot of consideration on what we are looking for and where we want to go, that person is you, Akeem. I have to let you go. This is not the end of the road for you, but I feel that you need to build a bit of mental resilience and strength, and you need to build out on a lot of diversity and hone in the knowledge. Do you have anything to say to me? Surely after making it 9 weeks, you have something to tell me. Are you disappointed?
No, I'm not disappointed. I think what you've said is right. I have to work on it, and I accept and I agree on it.
Part of what we do at DPS is not only to have people win a competition, it's also to use this experience of meeting different people, but it's always a learning curve. So all the best, and I wish you God's blessings and all the best in your life's endeavors. You're a champion for making it in the top 6. Well done. You want to go and cry and give him a hug? Contestants, I did assure you that this competition tests you. I've observed firsthand how you've had to navigate between task implementation, working into the wee hours, and it's very cold, and coming into presentation and really working like robots. We've really tested your mental strength, we've tested your emotional strength, we've tested your physical strength. But we do that because that's the type of work that this production team behind these cameras has shown you, because this is what they do day in, day out, and they have to deliver on deadline. Because the world waits for no one. The viewer, the client, does not understand that I have to drive from Lusaka into Chipata and shoot a football match and come and still get on set to film a documentary or film a TV series. We work in what I call a guerrilla warfare production setup. To be part of the Diamond team, in case you didn't know, and if you want to be part of it, there's one qualification that I've never told you about, is to be abnormal. We look for the abnormal. The abnormal in terms of their creativity, those who push beyond boundary, the abnormal that we just tell people, okay, go home and rest because they are so hungry to deliver. And that's what makes this brand stand out. So for you to make it to the top 5, guys, it's a huge congratulations. Remember, it all started from hundreds, from the Kitwe auditions to the Livingston auditions 2 finally Lusaka auditions, then a top 20, then snitching on each other, sending each other back to villages, and finally you are only 4 people away to being the DPS Season 5 winner. At this point, Taona, Mike, Mark, and Matakala, and Rachel, it can be any one of you. It can be any one of you. But what I'm going to be looking forward to in the remaining 3 weeks is more than ordinary. You need to summon some power somewhere to convince me that you are the person I'm looking for to join this team. So next week, after coming through into the top 5, I can tell that you're burnt out. Fortunately for you, there's no task this week. So Justin and George have some activities lined up for you to obviously get together and know yourselves through teamwork and go and have some fun just to relax. Thereafter, you'll also be able to have an opportunity. George will be able to tell you to interact with me for a full day to begin to understand what is the vision inside this head and where we want to take the business. But thereafter, once you psych me or become my shrink, on that day, it will become even tougher because your next assignment will be based on the future and vision based on our interaction. So no assignment, no task. It's time to relax. You deserve it. Well done.